All right, welcome back. We are jumping right back into our deep dive, continuing an ongoing investigation where we're looking at a well-known story, but not as history. No, we're treating it as a model for reality itself. And today, we're going to build on some really big ideas.
So let's start with the question that underpins this whole analysis. What if the universe isn't really about physical stuff? What if, at its core, reality is just a massive, complex structure of information, governed by rules, just like a computer program?
So here's our roadmap. First, we'll look at this idea of a closed circle of failure. Then we'll see the breaking point that changes a game. After that, we'll reframe reality as an information structure, decode the symbols of the barrier itself, and finish with a pretty wild idea that this barrier is actually a precondition for history. Let's get into it.
Okay, let's start with the main problem presented in the story, this endless, exhausting cycle of effort that goes absolutely nowhere. It's more than just bad luck. It's about being caught in a system that is literally designed to prevent any real change.
You can just imagine how frustrating this is, right? There's this massive input of energy and work all day long, but the next morning, boom, the system just resets. It's as if nothing ever happened. All that progress is completely erased.
So what's going on here? Well, in systems theory, this is what you'd call a stable equilibrium. You can push it, you can poke it, you can throw all the energy you want at it, but it's programmed to just snap right back to where it started. And here's the key. All that digging, all that effort, it isn't becoming effective information. It's just noise that the system is designed to ignore.
So if you're stuck in a loop like that, how on earth do you get out? Well, let's look at the turning point. This is the moment where, instead of just trying harder, the fundamental rules of the system get a complete rewrite.
In our model, introducing the phrase inshallah, or God willing, isn't just saying a few words. It acts like a command that hacks the entire system. It flips it from a closed loop where nothing new ever sticks to an open system that's suddenly connected to a higher level of command.
This kind of shift is what physicists call a phase transition. Think about water turning into ice. It's the same molecule, H2O, but its properties are completely fundamentally different. The change didn't come from pushing the water harder, it came from changing the underlying conditions of the system itself. That's exactly what's happening here.
Okay, so with that lens, the lens of systems and information, we can now look back at the whole story and see it as this incredible metaphor for how information, order, and change work in our own universe. And this really gets to the heart of it. We're not talking about a physical wall you can just knock down. We're talking about an organizational principle, a set of rules that defines what is and is not possible. The story basically becomes a blueprint for understanding the limits of any system and, more importantly, how you can transcend them.
And that brings us to the barrier itself. This is where it gets really interesting. What if we stop thinking about its parts as just iron and copper and instead see them as representing different kinds of information? Let's break it down.
First up, we've got the very foundation of this barrier, the iron.
Think about iron. It's hard, it's rigid, it's structured. Symbolically, it represents the unchangeable, inflexible laws that govern reality. This is like the source code of the universe, the laws of physics, cause and effect, the fundamental constants, the stuff that makes reality stable and predictable.
But then, poured all over that rigid iron structure, you have molten copper.
Now, copper is a conductor. It's fluid. It flows into every single crack and gap, and it binds all those separate iron pieces into one seamless, integrated whole. Symbolically, it's the network. It represents all the relationships and connections that make the system coherent. It's the how that links all the different rules together into a unified reality. So when you combine the iron's strict rules with the copper's total connectivity, what do you get? You get an incredibly stable, self-regulating system. A kind of cosmic firewall that maintains order, resists chaos, and literally sets the boundaries for what is and is not possible.
And that leads us to the most profound and maybe the most mind-bending implication of this entire model. We tend to think of the barrier as an event, something that was built at a specific point in time. But what if that's completely the wrong way to look at it?
This analysis puts forward a really radical idea. The barrier isn't an event in history, it's a condition for history. Think about it, it's like the operating system for reality. It's the emergence of physical laws, it's the invention of linear time itself. Without this stable, ordered structure in place, you couldn't even have a history as we understand it.
So let's just pull all these threads together. You can see how perfectly each piece of the story maps onto a concept in information theory.
The barrier isn't a wall, it's a cosmic stabilizer. The endless digging isn't a failure of effort. It's just what happens when you push against a closed system. And the breakthrough? It isn't just about finally succeeding. It's a phased transition into a whole new kind of reality.
And because this is an ongoing investigation, it leaves us with new, even bigger questions. If this barrier is the very thing that makes our stable reality possible, what does its eventual collapse really mean? Is it the end of everything, or is it just another phase transition into a state of being we can't even begin to comprehend? We're going to keep digging into that, so join us next time as the investigation continues.